Hello, and thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jamie. Today I want to talk about just some feelings I have coming up as I'm following my heart, following my intuition for everything. And my journey is going to look different than your journey because we're all on our own individual journeys and our own individual realities that we're meant to be living in. And so, yeah, everything looks different for me than it looks for you. But from my experience, I leapt out of my life in Pittsburgh to pursue my dreams. I had long wanted to travel the world, and I'd also long wanted to live on land, live in nature, in community. So I asked for those things, and I followed the steps that came up to take as I went along. And the thing is with living this way, only the next step is appearing on my path. So I have never really been a planner, but this kind of living isn't really probably super congruent with someone who's really into planning or thinking that they know how everything is going to work out, because the reality though is that we never know how things are going to work out. We never truly can plan enough to predict all the change that could happen in our lives when we start following our heart, following our intuition, and going towards things that we've been asking for. So for me, with all of this, my steps involved letting go of a place, letting go of a car, letting go of my stuff, letting go of the old life that I was living, because I knew that the one that I wanted just wasn't there, and I just felt into every step to take. But I'll say that, even for me, someone who doesn't like to plan, it hasn't always felt easy, because there is an instability sort of feeling that comes from it. But the reality in this existence, in this human experience, is that nothing is just hard and fast the way it's gonna be forever. Change is the only constant in this reality. But we can think that if we line everything up just so, and if we're good little worker ants and we just keep piling away our resources and we keep staying in the same place, and that everything's just gonna be how it always is, and that nothing's gonna change other than us adding things to our life. A lot of people chase material things, or you're trying to add trips to your life, you want to travel, and so you're squirreling away your resources to make that happen in a someday that may not exist. And that's the dangerous part of living that way, even though it can feel more comfortable than what I am living right now, in the sense that where you're gonna live, you know where you live, what you're doing, every day, because you have your job that you go to, you have your schedule, you have the set things in your life that you're just following along with, that can give a false sense of security, because at any time anything can change, right? And I've learned in my own life that when I was living a life that just wasn't healthy for me anymore, I got knocked out of that by having things happen with my health that just forced me to make big decisions and make big changes in my life. So sometimes that will happen if we keep going along and we know it's not the path that we should be on, or we should be doing something else. Life has a way of making that happen if we're not listening to our heart, if we're not following our intuition. There are things that happen, big things that happen, that make people still get that growth that they're meant to get, and experiences that they're meant to experience, and to do the things that they're meant to do. That happens all the time, right? So having it all planned and staying safe in what you have always known, just because that's what feels stable, doesn't mean that down the line things aren't going to happen to just completely knock you out of that reality. So there is, I don't know, it's just a cost in living a life that we don't want to live, because we get farther away from ourselves, which is farther away from our own spirit. And where I'm at right now, I know where I'm gonna live for about another week, and then I don't know where I'm gonna be after that. And for me, look, it's not comfortable it's not comfortable all the time, but I also know that my spirit is lining things up. From the time I landed on this island, I've been meeting just these amazing heart-centered people. That's been my reality, and I've set intentions around the kind of people that I want to meet and set intentions around the kind of experiences that I want to have. So then it's up to me to just keep trusting, staying in point zero, like as an observer to my life and things going on without reacting, and just talking to the people I feel to talk to, doing the things I feel to do. And I know it's all lining up because everything up until this point has lined up. I started in a life that was predictable at the beginning of this. Before I flew to Australia, I was going to a job. I had an apartment. I was, I even had my things that I love to do down. Like on this day I go Irish dancing. On this day I like to go paint. On this day I might go camping. Like, I don't know. I had some set things in my life, and as I've let go of those, like, everything has lined up. And I've had such beautiful, magical experiences because I let go of the shore, so to speak. So, we can daydream all we want about a life that we want, but the real movement towards that starts when we let go of the shore that feels so stable, and we, set out into the ocean that isn't predictable but holds everything that we've been dreaming up for ourselves. And I think, we don't get that life without some discomfort of taking action in ways that maybe, just feels unsafe, or, we feel unsure about it. But as I've gone along and I've trusted my intuition more and I've learned to trust my spirit more, I realize, like, I'm not doing this journey alone, and neither are you. We have our own spirit, and we can rely on that. And, anything I say in these videos is always for me as well, because it's reminding me that I'm not alone, even when it feels like it at times. And, I just have this trust that things are working out for me, for my highest good, that, I'm gonna align with exactly what I'm meant to be doing here, and the people that I'm meant to be surrounded by, and living in the place that's gonna be best for me and my spirit. And and all of that ripples out into the collective. So it's not selfish to live your dreams. It's not selfish to take steps that are outside of the box. It's not selfish to move away from your family and try something different for a change when your heart is telling you to do it. What's selfish is when we hold back our gifts, hold back ourselves. And, I'm living in a very different way here than I've ever shown up at a place, because I have cleared so much by this point that I set the intention as the plane was landing that I was just going to be all in on life. And that's exactly what I've been doing. So I show up, I talk. I went to a drum circle the other day and had never been to this before, and I felt to drum, and so I went up and drummed and just was having the best time. And I talked to someone last night who thought that I had just been living here for a long time, and in fact I'd been here for just over a week. And I live as though this is my home. I live as though these are my people. I live as though I'm, following my joy in any given moment. If I feel to drum in front of people, I do it. If I feel to talk to people, I do it. If I feel to dance my heart out, I do it. And it's a very unique way for me to live, because a lot of the times, like in the past anyway, my past self was more shy about things and would be a little more reserved and would be more of an observer on day one of an event I've never been to. But how I want to be and how I show up now is completely different, because I've changed so much, and I want that fully alive life. I want that fully connected connection. I don't know. Like, I want friendships that are real and authentic and genuine. I want to show up in a way that's real and authentic and genuine. And, you know, I've decided to go all in, and I hope that this is a reminder for you today too, to just go all in. Today I'm going to be posting my art online. I have an Etsy shop. I've had one forever, and I've always just bought things from there, from other people, or bought materials to make things, but have never sold anything on there. So that's part of me going out of my comfort zone, is just finally posting that on that site, because I don't know why I've been holding back. And I have things on my Instagram at Clear Into Balance posted, some of my art and jewelry. Like, I make these earthenware clay earrings and necklaces as well, but I don't often share about that because I'm just wanting to fully live life. Like, I haven't really wanted to like sell things, right? Like, sometimes that doesn't feel good to me, and I'm doing it anyway, okay? I'm doing it anyway because I feel called to do it. It keeps coming up in my reality over and over again that I should do this, and I'm gonna do it. If you're interested in anything that I make, you can email me at jamie@healintobalance.com, or you can message me through Clear Into Balance through Instagram. And yeah, but this is a beautiful journey we're on. And I was reading a book yesterday. Actually, let me tell you, I was reading Tuesdays with Morrie again by Mitch Albom. I love that book so much. Mitch, that was my first introduction to Mitch's work, and I just read that book in a day yesterday. Anyway, I just love them. And, you know, the story of Tuesdays with Morrie is about a man who had ALS, so Lou Gehrig's disease, and it basically chronicled the end of his life and all the things that he was learning as he was getting closer to death. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. But I want to say that, let's see. Ooh, okay, this is the quote that I wanted to share. It says, "Look, no matter where you live, the biggest defect we human beings have is our short-sightedness. We don't see what we could be. We should be looking at our potential, stretching ourselves into everything we can become." It's not always easy to do that. It doesn't always feel comfortable to do that and to stretch ourselves into our potential and into the way of being that we know deep down we have within us. But it's exactly what's needed right now in 2026, is for us to fully step into all of our gifts, all of our potential, and start seeing ourselves the way other people see us when we show up authentically, when we show up in our own personal magic, in our own personal spirit, living in alignment with our spirit and connecting more deeply with ourselves. Like, we give the world everything when we do that, and all of the ways that we are in our own life ripples out into the collective. So even if you're not doing something directly with other people right now, and you're going within and you're clearing your own issues and you're working through your own limiting patterns and beliefs, and you're starting to show up and express yourself more fully through whatever it is that you like to express yourself, you are changing the reality for all of us in that work you're doing, even when you're in your solitude. So keep going, knowing that you're making a positive difference in the world, even when you're not feeling so connected to the rest of the world. All of us are in different phases of our journey. All of us are here to do very different things, and that is okay. So embrace yourself, embrace your own spirit, embrace what your heart is telling you to do, and take one action step today towards that thing. I hope you have just the best day ever, and I appreciate you being here. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.